tree, but is not. So this tree, I planted this tree back in 2020, bird of paradise, and some trees, of course, will bring up new succulents, not succulents, sorry, succuses from the bottom. So this tree is part of this tree's root system, just like that one is part of that tree's root system. And if we wanted to, we could dig very deep, remove this tree itself with its roots and transplant it somewhere else in our farm if we wanted to. And we've done that before, but like this one I wouldn't move.
Is this one too big to be transplanted?
No, you could totally transplant that one. When you transplant it, you definitely need to give it a lot of water those first few weeks, but this one could totally be transplanted. We would just have to dig a very, very deep hole and make sure not to cut the root system. This is for beauty? This is just for beauty. Just like the one behind me, this Italian cypress, is just for beauty. This is just because I think they look great here, and they really took to the environment, and
and they grow this straight without pruning?
Without pruning.
Oh, okay.
Without pruning.
It's just the type of tree?
Yeah, it's just the type of tree. The Italian cypress grows just straight up. Okay. Again, I planted this tree when it was about that tall. And the reason I think these 3 Italian cypresses have done so well is that they are next to the kitchen and next to where we wash dishes. So anytime we have extra water, we dump it on these trees, and they get a little bit of an extra boost. But I have some pine trees as well. This is a pine tree. This is actually an hibiscus tree. If we wanted to go into all the herbs and everything, there's the rosemary, there's the lavenders over there, the sage, the aloe vera. I mean, so many medicinal herbs here as well. But now we're going to start getting into the more medicinal trees and the fruit trees. This tree is an extremely important tree. Do you have any idea what this is?
Moringa.
Yes, and you know how important this tree is. This tree is so healthy. The roots, the leaves, and because our farm is 100% organic, I can literally just break it off and and it is so nutritious and so good.
So it's a medicine vegetable?
This is medicinal.
It's medicinal?
Medicinal. So if you went to a health food store and you bought...
So is there a specific use you're using for...
I couldn't tell you, to be honest, the exact medicine it is. I just know it has...
It's just to add value to your health?
Yes.
Generally.
It has vitamins, it has nutrients. I'm sure if we looked up the profile, I could tell you. But if you go into a health food store in Sweden or in America or even in Kenya, into Nairobi, they would sell you a jar of these leaves crushed up for maybe $20 or $30. Where I can come out here again and just eat them or boil them into a tea if I wanted to and get the same effects. The other thing that you can get from the moringa tree is the seeds. So these are the seeds of the moringa tree, and you can actually you could plant those if you wanted to. You just dry them out and you plant them. Okay. And you can also eat them. They're very bitter, but if you, for whatever reason, if you eat them with water, they become quite sweet. And the seeds also are extremely beneficial to your health.
You eat them with the shell?
Yep. Very bitter, but if you have a little bit of water, they become very sweet. It's very strange. So, for a tree like this, like a moringa tree, what we'll do, we'll collect these, and we'll keep them in our seed bank, so that we can give them out to neighbors, other people who might want to plant a moringa tree, or for us later, if we want to plant a moringa tree ourselves. Behind us here is a pomegranate tree. So now we've got 2 fruit trees, 3 actually, if you want to go look at that one, the banana tree, which is more bananas over here. We've got pomegranate tree, which you can see the pomegranates growing, and then this is actually a plum tree.
The pomegranate, it is a fruit, but it's like you have planted it where you need beauty. Is it a combination?
I think all trees are beautiful to a point, but this one we planted here because it's a fruit tree and because if we planted it somewhere else, people would steal the fruit. So this one's close to home. So I know when they're ripe and I can get them. This is the plum tree.
Okay.
So another fruit tree right there. It hasn't produced any plums yet, but it will. And then these 2 trees to my left and my right are very interesting. This is called a melia tree. It's actually called fake neem because the leaves look like a neem tree, but it's not. So this has no medicinal purpose. All it does is provide shade. And even when I say a tree does nothing, here, it actually does do something. It does provide shade to everything that's underneath it, especially when the sun is so bright. It looks
grown very quickly.
And they grow very quickly. This tree is 3 years old, and you can see how big it is already. And then the other tree on my left is called a whistling pine tree. Those are also, I love these. It's a type of pine tree, and they call them whistling pine because when it's windy, there's a whistling sound that comes from the tree as the wind passes through.
Oh, okay.
And that's both these trees are very, very good trees for this environment because they grow quickly, they're big, they agree with the soil type, they agree with the climate, and they're both great.
So this is purposely for beauty?
That's just beauty. Yep, that's beauty and shade. Shade,
okay.
To give some shade.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the Melia tree, what was the purpose for you personally?
This is shade. So as we go into the farm now, you're going to see one of the issues or the challenges here in terms of planting in a farm is that the sun is bright almost every single day. So the ground just gets scorched. So we had to plant a lot of shade trees. And that would be a tree like this, a tree like the Grevillea tree, the white bottle brush. You'll see as we move into the farm that we planted them for the specific purpose of giving shade to all the crops that are underneath it. So we can go...
What about this fence you have behind?
The fence. So this is actually, in Swahili it's called Old Maguire. I know the English name and I'll send it to you. It's on our website, bomanoma.com/farm. And the great thing about this fence is that, well, traditionally Maasai would use this as toilet paper and also as deodorant. So you can take this, you can smell that it smells really good, and you can use it as deodorant. And you can also use it as toilet paper.
You just put it under
like
your
exactly.
armpit for some time.
Exactly. The great thing about this that I love is that if I take this off right here, let's say this guy, or any of them, this one, and I plant this, literally just stick this into the ground, it will grow itself. So we made a fence with this specific type of plant all around it. It continues there, it's over here, it goes all around. And it all came from one single plant at the beginning. And every time it would have another branch, we'd break it off and plant it, and then break it off and plant it.
So purposely fencing.
Fencing.
Purposely.
It is also medicinal.
Yeah. It's medicinal, but for you now,
for me,
yes, it is for fence.
Yes, yes. The medicinal purpose of it is that if you have a stomach ache, you can boil these leaves into a tea and you can drink it, and it does help your stomach. But is
this something you have done personally?
I have.
And it worked?
Yeah. I don't know if it was the placebo effect or if it was the the plant itself, but traditionally Maasai people use this as a cure for stomach aches and stomach disease. So,
and I'm seeing it has flowers.
Yes, purple flowers.
Have you seen any of the bees on this plant?
All the time.
They like this one.
They love everything. So we have, I mean, between the hibiscus and these and the other just types of all the flowers we have. If you just look over here, you can see you'll find bees everywhere here because of just the diversity.
So now we're entering
into the farm. So this is a very interesting tree. This one is called an Isibania tree. Isibania.
Sespania?
Sespania, thank you. Sorry, let me say that again because Isibania is the city. This is a very interesting tree. It's called Sespania, and the reason that it's planted is, again, it gives nutrients back into the soil. So this is an amazing tree to plant in the farm because it gives shade to everything beneath it, and it gives the soil health a huge boost. The issue with the Sespania tree is that it's very invasive. So if we're not careful, then it will drop its seeds when they're ready.
It has many seeds.
Yes, and then they'll start growing everywhere. So a lot of times, let's say we want just one here, we have to take out other Sespanias as they start to grow.
Can you replant them?
Yes. Oh yes. And all these we planted from seed. So we have a nursery.
So
we have a tree nursery.
If you have small trees growing here, you can uproot them and put them somewhere else.
Absolutely. In fact, we do that. What we do is we plant everything from seed in our tree nursery, and then once they become about this big, we transplant them and put them where we want to in the farm. And the tree nursery is back that way, which I'll show you. This is a papaya tree. So another papaya tree or another fruit tree, which has given tons of fruit already. These are obviously the ones that are not ripe yet, but we've harvested so many before. And then again, this tree is 2-3 years old at the very most. So it's already producing fruit that we eat and enjoy. And
are they sweet?
Amazing.
And if you compare to the one you buy here in town in Narok, are they similar?
I think that similar, yes. Obviously, this is fresher because it's literally picked off the tree. And I know for a fact that because everything here is 100% organic, there are no chemicals, there's no pesticides, there's no herbicides, there's no glyphosate that's been put anywhere near this. So for me, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's sweeter, but in my mind, I enjoy it more
than buying.
Yes. Oh, of course. So if we come this way, we get more into the farm.
Is a tall tree.
Well,
This one?
Yes, this is a tree from the Mau forest. It's an indigenous tree, and I forget the name, but it's on our website because it has a scientific name that I always forget. But I planted this tree, and I'm just amazed at how fast it's growing. The cool thing about this tree is that every other tree, not every other tree, but most trees, they grow up branches like this grevillea, that grevillea, I mean, they just grow, you know, branch, branch, branch. This one is like a palm tree. It grows from right up in the middle, and it'll offshoot like this. So new branches come from the very, very top and in the middle. And then as they get older, they break off. So it's almost like I call it a forest palm tree. That's not the real name, not the scientific name whatsoever. But to me, that's what it reminds me of. And the same type of tree is that one right there. It's called the Australian umbrella tree. And that tree is actually a giant tree. We have three of them. One there, one's over there. You can see it right next to the fence. That's right, just kind of above the fence a little bit with the green leaves. It's an amazing tree. The new branches grow from the middle of it, kind of like a palm tree. And that tree, if you planted that tree in a really wet environment, it'd be massive already. But because here it's very dry, it's growing slowly. What we've noticed is that you can pretty much plant anything you want here, but anything that really loves water, yes, it'll grow, but it won't thrive. Things like sugarcane, things like bamboo, things like the Australian umbrella tree, they're alive and they're growing, but they grow at a much slower pace than would be if they were planted in a place like Nairobi or Mombasa or somewhere where, you know, you get a lot more precipitation. So you can see more Sesbanias here. We got jacarandas there, but I want to show you this way first. I want to show you the tree nursery. And then
so
we'll
mostly it's this Sesbania that you're using here in the farm?
Yes, and grevillea. There's a lot of grevilleas and a lot of, like this is a grevillea.
Oh, okay.
This is a grevillea here, grevillea. Some big grevilleas back there. We can keep walking back there, I'll show you. That is a fig tree, an let's just go that way. I can show you the African fig tree. And this tree, I remember, I love it so much because when I bought it, you know when you buy a tree, and I bought this tree in Nairobi. There's some trees that we get in Narok. There's some trees that we get in Nairobi, and a few that you can only get in Mombasa. And this is one of the trees that I bought in Nairobi because you can't get it in Narok. And it's a fig tree, an African fig tree. And I remember that it wasn't expensive. It was a few hundred shillings, so it's nothing crazy. But in the transporting it back to here, the whole pot that it was in kind of just fell apart. So I was just left with the tree and the roots, and I really had to nurse it back to life. Obviously now it's doing amazing. And this is a tree that I've had to prune a lot. You won't see all these branches here because we take them and use them for firewood. But things like these, I'll end up taking off and then making sure that it grows up and straight and not out like that.
Oh, okay.
And you can see I've agreed that this one continues. I could very easily cut this one off too and just leave these two big ones. Or cut this one off and leave this one big one. Oh. But I want this tree to have three.
Are you the one pruning?
Yeah, I'm the one pruning.
The only one?
Yeah. Selena, everything for the farm, Selena. Yeah. All the kale, all these pumpkins that are amazing and big, and you know we eat them every day. You can see them here. The cassava here, all the different peppers, all the different vegetables. That's all Selena. But I'm the trees. Oh, okay. She's got the food, and I've just done the trees. So from here, you can see that's a grevillea right there. That one that's right in front of us?
One, yeah.
Yep, that's a grevillea. So that one's another shade tree. That's a croton tree.
And then I see some indigenous trees.
Yep, a few indigenous trees. So when we got here, these two trees were the only two trees that were here. In this entire area, these two were here. So you can see like the big wild sage trees that were here before because they're old growth trees. And those were here. Obviously, we didn't cut them down or anything, but we planted around them. And this is wild sage. So if you smell the leaves, they'll smell like sage. And then right over here is another beautiful tree. I know you know the jacaranda tree, the one that has beautiful, beautiful flowers during the season. They're all purple. That's a jacaranda tree, and it's also amazing for shade. So this whole area of the farm gets shade.
The jacaranda, you also got good experience.
Yes, yes.
Growing quickly.
Yes, yes. Yeah, one thing about permaculture that Selena would tell you more than I would is that it's everything you have to do in as a variety in terms of diversity. So you don't want to put all the fig trees together, all of the jacaranda trees together. No, you plant everything in different spots. So everything kind of helps each other. Behind you there is an orange tree that's still small. There's another orange tree over there. A lot of the trees, like let me show you another one here.
And one thing I'm observing here.
Yes.
where you have the farm. You
Yes.
have a bigger space between your trees compared to other sites.
Yep.
Is it for the sunlight, for what
And
you're
to make sure the root systems don't disturb everything we're planting here.
Ah, okay.
So 2 reasons, yes. Sunlight, but also the root system. But there are trees, like that's another pomegranate tree
Yeah.
that will grow into a full tree. There are, do you see that? Do you see there's cassava here and then there's that other things just sticking out of the ground? That's an avocado tree. So there are additional
There
trees
are
in here,
trees.
but
There
they're just
will be more.
small. Yeah.
This place will be more forested.
Yes, yes.
But never fully forested.
Never too much.
You want the sunlight.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this is the Australian umbrella tree that I mentioned. We have a few of them. This is not the biggest one that we have.
Yeah.
The biggest one is in a different spot, but this is a new branch that comes out from the middle. So every single time a new branch comes out, it'll come out from right here.
And you said this one grows slowly.
It grows slowly here, but in Nairobi, it grows very quickly. And if you just remember the type, the layout of these leaves, when you go back to Nairobi, whenever you do, you'll immediately recognize this tree. And it's massive, but you'll recognize this exact leaf shape.
Are the leaves bigger?
Yes.
Or they are more?
There's both. It's just everything is bigger. I mean, it's a giant tree. It's huge. It's huge. But here it grows slowly.
Is it for beauty?
It's for beauty. Yep. And do you see these ants that are on the tree?
Yeah.
They pose no threat to this tree. They have no problem with this tree. The tree has no problem with them. But if we ever did have a bug infestation on a tree.
And I'm saying this is a flower?
Yes, that is a flower. That's a big flower. It's called all these are on the website, but I forget the name. It is no, I'll remember later.
Yeah.
Sorry about these. So you can see this is the same fence that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And then as we come this way, we have what is my favorite tree in the entire garden. We have our miraa trees.
Miraa.
Yes. So
what is miraa?
So miraa is a drug that is 100% legal here, and a lot of people chew it. But it is a Schedule 1 drug in America, where I'm from, and very illegal in Sweden, where you're from, and throughout Europe and North America. It is very, very, very illegal. But in Kenya, it is very, very legal. And it's a big cash crop. So all throughout the Middle East, people chew it, and it's a stimulant. And
you can make money.
You can definitely